Our gospel lesson today comes to us from the Gospel of Matthew, where we continue in the story as Jesus talks with his disciples, the ones he has called into the ministry, and gives instructions about what they should know along the way. Hear now these words of the Lord. Jesus says, "A disciple is not above the teacher, nor a slave above the master. It is enough for the disciple to be like the teacher and the slave like the master. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more will they malign those of his household? So have no fear of them, for nothing is covered up that will not be uncovered, and nothing secret that will not become known. What I say to you in the dark, tell in the light. And what you hear whispered, proclaim from the housetops. Do not fear those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather, fear him who can destroy both soul and body in hell. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? Yet not one of them will fall to the ground apart from your Father. And even the hairs of your head are all counted. So do not be afraid. You are more value than many sparrows. Everyone, therefore, who acknowledges me before others, I also will acknowledge before my Father in heaven. But whoever denies me before others, I also will deny before my Father in heaven. Do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to set a man against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and one's foes will be members of one's own household. Whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And whoever does not take up the cross and follow me is not worthy of me. Those who find their life will lose it, and those who lose their life for my sake will find it." The word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. As the story goes, a photographer was taking pictures of a group of first graders at the elementary school. You know, those school photos that dot the yearbook and line the walls up your staircase. A few of the kids seemed a bit nervous, so he was making small talk with them, trying to put them at ease. "What are you going to be when you grow up?" he asked one little girl. And she paused, thinking of all the adults in her life, her parents and grandparents, her teachers and neighbors, her coaches and guides. And without skipping a beat, she says, "I'm going to be tired." Oh, how we can relate. Adulting is hard and exhausting, isn't it? Remembering the doctor's appointments and doing the laundry and getting the work done and moving our bodies and making sure we bought the Father's Day cards. Emily, making sure you bought the Father's Day cards and booking the tickets and paying the bills and stressing out about money and keeping up with one's family and friends and figuring out what to cook for every single meal, every single day, and over and over and over for all the days. Now, these are but a handful of the logistics. In these adulting years, we come across broader understandings of what's happening in the world, which only increases our despair and our fear with every slashed federal budget or every violent act in school. We worry about what we know and what we don't, what's lurking under the skin and behind the walls, and with relationships gone cold. We get lonely and frustrated with our aging bodies and get new jobs and get cancer and then get new things to worry about. We labor and we toil and we endure one global crisis after another. It is a wonder that we're not all out here collapsing under the weight of it all. So when companies come along with the promise of ease, we'd be foolish not to buy what they're selling, right? Given all that we're carrying. The Roomba that glides so seamlessly around your floors and vacuums it for you. Plugs that just turn on the lamps in the room with a clap of the hands or a command of the voice. An app where you can find just about any item that your heart desires. And with the low price of $139 a year, you can have it in your hands overnight. This is what Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg calls a frictionless existence. That's the goal, you see, from him, from all those other tech bros out there that are automating our writing and reading and mopping and sending. Because you see, friction, if you remember with me from science class, is the force that resists motion. Whether it be two objects that are rubbing together, or two points of view that are coming into conflict, or two people who share mutual irritation. Friction is that endless to-do list with multiple overlapping priorities. Friction is the political fight with your Uncle Joe that always seems to simmer underneath the surface at Thanksgiving. Friction are the needs that mount even as capacity wears away. Just think about all the ways that we're coaxed into choices away from friction. Facebook tells me that I can have friends with whom I have not spoken in decades. Friends that I literally have never met. Politicians tell me that they'll give us more money and kick out all the people we don't like. Gauzy commercials invite me to come visit California or talk to your doctor about this new medicine, with the implication that both will make my life better. Inventors give us the apps and the automatic bill pay and the artificial intelligence. Even some churches have created a one-stop shop of their church house where there's a coffee shop right next to the sanctuary and a school for your kids just next door. So even your church becomes a place of ease and comfort. Each conveys this ease, this fix to the ills that you carry, this hope for particular places of despair or exhaustion. So why would we not choose a frictionless way of living? Why not live a life of ease? Go empty-handed, Jesus says to his disciples, sent out to do God's work of love in the world. Don't take money or clothes or food or anything that could provide material comfort. For all of this will be found through reliance on God and through the hospitality of others. I'm sending you out like sheep into the midst of wolves, Jesus told them. Sounds cozy, don't you think? And then he continues, the circumstances get a bit more dire. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword, says the Prince of Peace. I'll set family against itself, child against parent, parent against child. Whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. Happy Father's Day to all of you in the room. So take up your cross and follow me. Those who find their life will lose it. How many of us are out here trying to find ourselves? And those who lose their life for my sake will find it. Can you imagine a more friction-filled life than the one Jesus describes? Work without any comforts of home, likely conflict, lost life, a suggestion to hate your family in Jesus' name. Even when we get into the nuances of translation and we understand that that particular command is more about detaching from instead of hating, still, If Jesus is trying to woo people into discipleship, he is seriously missing the point. Might we suggest something automated instead? Maybe just a little easier, at least. But this life of discipleship that Jesus describes, it is not for the faint of heart. Intense, unconventional, wholly human. This life of discipleship is a life of relinquishing, giving up, reprioritizing, a life of conflict and turmoil, to be sure, a life of giving up what we love in order to move closer to the one behind all the love. It's the kind of life that led Bonhoeffer to his death, and the leaders of the civil rights movement to the police dogs. It's a life that leads ordinary humans into extraordinary faithfulness. It's a life of chosen friction, you might say. For as one person says, you can't carry a cross if your arms are full. Pastor and author Mark Yaconelli told a sobering story about a call he once got from a Christian woman. She was deeply distressed after talking with her college-age son, and then told Mark about how her son had decided to leave his studies to join a group of Americans going to Iraq to be with Iraqi civilians during the bombing and occupation. Their goal was twofold: to work in a children's hospital, but to do so as a visible presence of American citizens in Iraqi space. They had hoped this would add layers of extra protection to the lives of Iraqi civilians, as well as to increase awareness about the suffering of those civilians back at home. Hearing all of this, the mother was upset. She told her son in no uncertain terms that he had made a commitment to college and she was paying for it, and this was no time to engage in radical politics, and he better get back to school. And Pastor Mark, on the other side of the phone, asked her, well, how'd your son respond to that? She sighed, and the conversation got quiet. With a lump in her throat that unfolded into a sob, she recalled how her son had said, but Mom, this isn't politics. This is following Jesus. We're going as a Christian group. Didn't you and the church teach me that Jesus was always befriending people who were weak and suffering? Pastor Mark just waited while she cried. Then, with a hint of resignation in her voice, finally the mother said, he's right. I know that. I know he's right. But if I knew he was going to do something like this, I would have taken him out of the church and put him in the Boy Scouts instead. No offense to the Boy Scouts in the room, but isn't that what we are called to be and do as the church? To be the people that when nothing else matters, our love for God and neighbor spills over into faithful action in the world. To be the people that lay a firm foundation upon which the world can be built. To be the people that lean into the friction because we know it keeps us human and makes us faithful. To be the people that reject a Roomba-shaped faith, to choose the maddening, hopeful, thrilling, hard way of love because it is the way of life every single time. But we can't do that on our own strength. I mean, that looks rather hard. No matter how relentless we are, no matter how strong we are, we would become like that first grade girl who surveyed the scene and decided that it all makes her tired just thinking about it. And we can't do this not just on our own strength, but on our own courage, because disconnected from its source, it will fail every time. So to all his disciples then and now, Jesus says, do not be afraid. Even as I send you as sheep to the wolves, even as you must be wise as serpents and innocent as doves, remember the sparrow. For the God who counts every hair on our heads is the God who says, come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. That's the God who will never leave us. No matter the tension or the conflict or the hardship or the friction of our lives, because that is the God who took up the full weight of the cross for the sake of the world. How do we know? Why should I feel discouraged? Why should the shadows come? Why should my heart be lonely and long for heaven and home when Jesus is my portion, a constant friend is He? For His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. For His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. For His eye is on the sparrow, and I know